Actually, less men are going after women because men are more in their feminine energy. There's been an attack on masculinity for years now. Pursuing with intent will never be a waste of time and energy. Masculine energy men pursue what is of value.
Ladies, tonight I'm going to share with you the 3 reasons that men are not approaching women like they used to. In fact, 95% of you have told me men don't approach you anymore and/or they haven't approached you ever, which is really sad, and it's not your fault. That's one of the big things I want to get through your mind is it's not your fault. The times have changed, and in this video, I'm going to share with you what's going on so you at least understand why men are not approaching. My name is Quentin. I'm the creator of the RTP dating method. I help women in their 30s and beyond meet high-quality men in as quick a time as humanly possible. If that is you, stick around. I'm here to help. Okay, number 1 is the reason most of you may think, which is men are just afraid, right? Even back when men were approaching more, it's a scary thing for men to do, right? At least seemingly so, psychologically and emotionally. So fear is the number 1 thing. So that's still a reason. But now we have these 2 new reasons, and these 2 new ones are what's making it seem like they're just never approaching now. So the second one are dating apps. So now you have a whole demographic of men that would have had to have developed themselves socially, their confidence, their, all those social skills to have walked up to you and developed the courage to ask you out. They don't have to do it anymore, right? Because they have the dating apps. They have that as a crutch. So that's a huge demographic of men now that would have converted to being a courageous, masculine man that are just never going to do it now. And then the third group, and there are still high-quality men in this group, they're the men that have developed themselves. They do have the guts and balls to go up to you, but now, because of our social climate, a lot of men that are willing to do it, they're becoming hesitant, not so much out of fear, but of being afraid to talk to you, but fear that they're going to come across as harassing you. Because the narrative now in our media and the political environment is pushing that, men are becoming very timid to go up to women because they think they're harassing them. Now, a lot of men have harassed women, so there's, which is really unfortunate, and makes me sad to hear that when that does happen. But a lot of the good, high-quality guys now are pulling back, approaching in real life because of that. So because of those 3 factors, 95% of men are just not coming up to you anymore. So they're relying on dating apps, and they're just not doing it. So new strategies are needed, but those are the 3 reasons why. All right? Like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and comment below if you agree and if you found this to be true. And if you would like private coaching from me, reach out to the email in the bio. All right? Bye.
Today, I'm going to look at an article written by a woman. In it, she complains about how men are now overreacting to the fact that we're starting to avoid women in the workplace as a result of the Me Too movement, among other things. She asserts that they are essentially being punished for many of our actions. Because of the way things have been going lately, there is a lot of very interesting information about which none of you will be surprised. Additionally, the article's title reads, "Men Now Avoid Women at Work." A new study found that we men appear to be following Mike Pence's lead, which is yet another sign that we are being punished for Me Too, as stated at the beginning of the article. Perhaps they are in rage. According to the article, Mike Pence appears to be quite the trendsetter. The Vice President of the United States is well known for his refusal to dine alone with any woman who is not his wife, and it appears that working men across corporate America are following in his footsteps. It states, men are significantly more reluctant to interact with their female colleagues following the Me Too movement, according to a new study that will have been published in the Journal of Organizational Dynamics. The fact that 27% of men avoid one-on-one meetings with female coworkers is one of the study's highlights. Yes, that is correct. A frightening third of men fear being alone in a room with a woman. Of course they are. Let's hope there isn't an accusation, even if it's just an overreaction, given how things have been going, and how much you are presumed to be guilty until proven innocent. It states that 21% of men would be reluctant to hire a woman for a job that requires close interaction, like business travel, according to this survey. 19% of men would be hesitant to enlist an alluring lady. The preceding data was gathered at the beginning of 2019 from workers in a variety of industries. At the height of Me Too, researchers had posed the same inquiries in early 2018. Depressingly, it appeared as though things had gotten worse in 2018. For instance, compared to 21% in 2019, 15% of men said they would be less likely to hire women for jobs that require close interpersonal interactions with women. Yes, that is the way things have always been. Don't put us down. Because they can see what has transpired. Men are covering themselves. They would rather not be held accountable for something they did not do. Men lose their jobs as a result of an exaggerated response. That is the reality, which is unfortunate. The article says, men are not the only ones who are afraid of women. Moreover, it appears that women are also becoming warier about hiring women. More than 10% of men and women in the 2018 survey said they expected to be less willing to hire attractive women. Additionally, the phrase "note, the 2019 results for women are not yet public" appears in parentheses. Internalized misogyny is a real ordeal. In Me Too, there have been a lot of discussions about gray areas. We are told that all of this harassment business is very hard for men because nobody knows what harassment is anymore. Simply laughing with a coworker could be considered harassment to some people. It all depends on the person. But once more, guys might just make harmless remarks without really meaning to. And before you know it, they are summoned to HR and given a warning about it, at which point they lose their jobs. It reads, "You men are afraid to even shake a woman's hand for fear that she will think it's harassment." That's exaggerated. It's easier to stay away from each other. The fact that this study thoroughly refutes the claim that men are unsure of what constitutes unacceptable behavior is what makes it quite fascinating. The initial research involved examining 19 behaviors, emailing jokes to a subordinate, for instance, and asking people to categorize them as harassment or not. Guess what? Both genders agreed on what harassment is in the scenarios. The following is quoted. "The majority of men and women are aware of the harassment." One of the study's authors, Leon Water, a professor at the University of Houston, stated to Harvard Business, "The idea that men do not know their bad behaviors and that women are making a mountain out of a molehill is largely untrue. Women, on the other hand, define harassment more loosely." That's it for now. The majority of men are well aware of the distinction between a friendly and a creepy hug. You have to wonder why so many men are afraid to interact with women at work when they are perfectly aware of what harassment is and is not. There is, without a doubt, a difference between a friendly hug and a creepy hug, which I believe many guys ought to be aware of. However, at the end of the day, at this point, one remains regrettably guilty until proven innocent. Also, tragically, this will worsen before it improves. However, I'm discussing this article to demonstrate, from a woman's point of view, that you cannot make women happy. Perhaps the answer to that question is that a lot of men are more enraged about Me Too than they are about being accused of anything. This is what she is saying, her point of view. They are punishing women for refusing to interact with them, and they are enraged that we have been made to consider their behavior to interact and question the power dynamics that they have always taken for granted. That is completely untrue. We simply do not want to risk being fired or sued, that's all. It is worth noting. The Me Too backlash is the headline of the article in the Harvard Business Review that gives the study's results for 2019. The headline subtly suggests that Me Too went too far. Naturally, there will be a backlash. It's yet another form of victim blaming, and yet another tactic for subtly resetting women's status quo and encouraging more complaining. No matter what you do in life, there will always be a reaction in one way or another. Anything goes. The female movement goes too far, men will get tired of it. And movements like mgtow and the red pill will emerge. Then we will be able to do certain things, and women will react in a certain way. As a result, there had to be a clear response to the Me Too movement and others. There will always be responses.